Good evening from Clearwater, Florida. It's Lana, and I'm tuning in tonight to talk about the commitment necessary for change. Change takes commitment. You have to dedicate and devote yourself to yourself. It's not something where you can just say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. You can't just laissez-faire, throw out the words and expect things to unfold for you. There does require a concerted effort. Sometimes it's visualization and sometimes it's actual physical engaging, working towards something. In any situation where you desire to have a certain experience, you also need to have the commitment, no matter how subtle that desire is, to achieving and having that experience. Or even if it's material, again, it's going to be an experience in the end. It's so easy for us to get caught up in routines and habits every day that we actually have committed to. We just don't see it as such. So think about that for a moment. Your daily routine requires a commitment, even if you don't have to think about it. If it's habitual, you've committed yourself to something that happens in a certain sequence and timing. And sometimes that's what keeps you stuck. So when it comes down to you desiring something new, experiencing something new, it means reevaluating where you are in your life, looking at it and asking yourself, is this continuous pattern serving me, or is it time for me to try something a little different? Step outside of the box I've created. Stop being so predictable. Right now we're going through times nobody knows what's going to happen. We don't know anyway. We've never known. We've assumed we have some control over the unfolding of events just based on choices we make. But even the choices we make, which are based on our previous experiences, don't dictate exactly what is going to continue happening in your life. How bad do you want it? Are you willing to change habits? Are you willing to be like the butterfly that goes through the metamorphosis and emerges from the chrysalis? The question is, if you aren't willing to commit and to dedicate and devote yourself to making that a priority in your life, you're going to get stuck. You're going to be stuck in your life with the same patterns and routines. And it really is going to always come back to, what is your belief system? Because consciously or unconsciously, subconsciously, sometimes we don't feel like we deserve something. So we fight ourselves in a way that we can say we desire one thing, but on a deeper level, we also fight ourselves from allowing ourselves to experience or have that thing because we don't feel we deserve it. So although we can say we desire it, but there's this little inner demon that's fighting us saying, yeah, but it's not for you, you don't deserve it. Whatever the inner talk is. Sometimes you don't even hear it, but it's just like our habits. Such a pattern, we don't recognize it until we really sit and evaluate and decide what is it that's going on below the surface. So in order to succeed at change, your desire has to be greater than your fear of failure. So what does that mean? It means that your desires must far outweigh what you perceive and fear that you may lose, because it's the push-pull again. You may desire, but you may not be able to fulfill it because you don't believe in it as strongly as you need to. How often have you been surprised by your own attaining something you didn't think you could? You need to keep tapping into that. Use that as your motivation and your reminder that what the mind can perceive or envision, it can achieve. Because the funny thing is just as much as we can imagine the worst case scenario, we can also imagine the best case scenario. But that's where body awareness comes into play, because if you can tap into what does you feel when you're in one of those directions, whether it's something you fear experiencing or something you want to experience. It's not Murphy's Law. It's all physiology. Because what you feel in your body, you experience. Because the body responds to the mind. And if there's any sort of fear in the mind, that it reverts back to previous experiences and says, oh, no, 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 we don't want to go there because this experience happened, then how can you experience in the future something different? It takes work. It takes attention. It's that dedication, that devotion to self. So most often I know for myself, I can get so excited about something, and then just as I come to the point of getting it, right before that, I feel it in my physical body. I notice my thoughts will go off into, I don't know, I was all of a sudden excited and then I get antsy, like, I don't know, what, maybe I should change my mind. Maybe I really don't want to do this. And you know what? The mind can kind of perceive that something unknown is coming to surface. Something is changing. And it gets a little fearful. It senses something's coming into my awareness. I don't know what it is, and I don't know how it's going to unfold. So you go into a fear mode. But that's actually just the mind basing previous experiences. It doesn't know. And what you don't know, you won't know until you experience it. So, that anxiety, I try to remind people, don't give up before the miracle. Because when you get the anxiety, you should get even more excited and go, that means something bigger and better is coming for me. And although my mind may go into the fear, the reality is I'm actually witnessing the change is coming. It is happening. And it's always for the better. Change may be like death, and you still need to mourn the past of what you do know to embrace the future of what you may know and will know. Because it's all new. And, it really, in the end, you have to commit to yourself. Be willing to let go of your attachment to what your ideal version of what you expect and want to actually experience, because you have to be flexible with it. You can have a desire, keep the vision of what you'd like to experience, but be flexible in how it will unfold, how it will manifest for you, and be surprised. Because the way the universe works, God, source, whatever you call it, is always so much greater and so much better than you can ever even imagine. So just be open to that. And be choosy about the words that you use, because those words carry a vibration. And so when you use words, you have to remember those words also affect your integrity and your character. Because if you aren't intentional with your words and clear with your communication, whether it's internally, externally, written, spoken to another person, unless you're intentional, you will fail to follow through with the actions. And nobody wants to be called a liar, but you have to be aware of your thoughts constantly. And you don't want to be questioned as a person of integrity. You don't want to be distrusted, because then you have to question if you trust yourself. And so this, again, we reel into what are the things behind whether or not I commit to change, whether or not I commit to what I desire and want to experience in this life. You have to ask yourself, do I trust myself? Can I be trusted? If you can't be true with the words, then you need to not say them. Put only out there what you are willing to take action on. Nobody's going to know any different, but you will know that the words you intentionally utilize, you use only to commit to what it is you wish, want, or desire to experience. The more you can do that on your own awareness with yourself, the more you'll be able to do it with others. And truly, that clear communication can only open doors for you that you can't even imagine. You focus only on what it is you are willing to put forth in your life, and it will come back to you 100-fold and then some. Confronting situations before they come, that's better than being confronted by them. Search within yourself, even if you don't know what it is you want. And when you do know, you need to make it a priority. Make yourself a priority. Want a true miracle in your life and everything else to unfold perfectly? Become devoted to yourself. Become devoted to you. Because you deserve it, and nobody can tell you anything different. Except for your mind. And even then you can condition your mind to remind you, you do deserve this. You rock. Live this life. Bring out the inner child and enjoy it. We're not here to be serious to the point where we forgot our joy. Live life and love life. Lots of love to you all. Many blessings. Big hugs. Mwah, mwah, kisses. Have a good night.